Okay, now we're recording. All right, August 26th, we are off to the races. So we're just talking about the 145 thing I'm doing there with the influencer group. And like I said, you guys have, it's not going to be anything new to your ears, but like Roy said, you can never hear this stuff enough. It's like, even for me, like when I'm learning stuff, I could still learn stuff today that I learned 20 years ago. It's like every time you hear the same stuff, you get a little more and more. You get another piece. It's amazing how that works. It's like anything we learn, there's so much to it. You never get it the first time. And I think the most successful people are the ones that understand that. They know, whenever I see somebody that is a total know it all, they're the least successful people that I know. You
Mhm.
can't tell them anything, you can't teach them anything. They know more than you do, and they just do their thing. And people, I don't really think a lot of people want to work with somebody like that, honestly. You know, it's like they're more interested in talking than listening. And if you get in tune with the fact that you need to listen, you'll probably be more successful, especially with sales. If you're not listening to your prospects, it, you're missing a lot. You're missing a lot of keys that they're handing you to what they want and how they want to be talked to and who they are and what's important to them. If you don't key in on that stuff, you're never going to resonate with them. You might make sales, there's a lot of people that make sales that are just pushy. None of us like that. We don't like to be sold to that way. I don't know of anybody that really likes that. Yeah, it works just by sheer volume of numbers, but believe me, it's no way to go through life. You don't want to be that guy or that gal. So listen, there's a lot that you can learn just from listening. So anyway, enough of that. You guys know that, right? All right. Anybody got stuff? I know Dwayne's got something he wants us to look at here. So let me start with that. Let me find it here. See what I did with it. I know. Oh, there it is. Okay. Share the screen. All right. So he's been kind of working on his big idea here, and he's come a long way, getting a lot closer. This is looking much better. Your promise now is pretty much on point. How to win your case. I think that's really what they want. They want to win their case. There might be more to it, but you're on it enough that I think that will do it. Not to say you couldn't refine that and figure out, what's important about winning the case, that kind of stuff. But I would say where you probably might need a little help here is just in the messaging, the wording, and possibly your naming of your unique mechanism. As I see, you're calling it the holistic success system, and that's totally different. That has got an intrigue factor to it. So that might do it for you. This might do it. But attorney slash coach teaches you how to win with the holistic success system. It's a little, the attorney slash coach, somebody might have to think about what is that, or even trouble reading that, what that means. I get it. You probably get it, but I'm thinking like on a third grade level. If a third grader were to look at that, a slash between two words that are completely different, it may not ring through really quickly. So the other thing too is this is the place where you get to toot your horn. This is the place where you get to be outlandish. This is, you want rubbernecking going on here. You want them to be, snapping their neck like, what was that? Who is this? And I get about compliance because there's a lot of industries. Legal is one, financial is another, medical is another. There's a lot of compliance issues, and you have to, in some cases, be careful how you state things. And this might be one of those, but and I don't know like where the lines are either. So that's something that you're going to have to research based on your own niche and see what you can get away with. But the more outrageous you can push the stuff, the better off you'll be. If you look at some of the examples that I have in there, as far as the big idea tutorials, there's probably over 20 different examples of some really good ones, throughout the last, decade or so. And you'll see they're really outlandish. Like, so I was just kind of fiddling around with seeing how else you could say this. And you might say, coach to the most successful attorneys in the business reveals how to win using his proprietary holistic success system. Something to that nature. Yeah, it's a little outlandish. I don't know if you can actually say, coach to the most successful attorneys in the biz, but if you can, I would. Or something along those lines. Instead of attorney coach teaches is kind of a dirty word here. Mm. Teaches means there's work involved. That means you're going to have to learn. Learning is work. You want your unique mechanism to be the thing that does the work for you. So the messaging, how you piece those words together. Like you notice I said reveals how to win using his proprietary and then the system. That means the system's the thing that's going to win. So you always want to pose it as your unique mechanism as the thing that delivers the result without your intervention. It's almost like a magic carpet ride. You deliver the magic carpet, they step on, the ride takes place.
Yeah, this is much better.
Yeah. So, and I know you guys have heard this term. It's not my term. I don't know who came up with it, but I hear it used a lot. You have to sell people what they want and then give them what they need. So keep that in mind when you're creating your big ideas. Always, always, always focus on what they want, not what they need. We know they need to do a little work, right? They don't want to do the work, so we can't focus on that up front. We have to deliver that on the back end. As we can help them all we want, but they still have to do a little work. But you don't want to focus on that as a selling proposition, because that's not a selling proposition. It's a necessary evil. And you don't want to use necessary evils when you're trying to sell something. You want to focus on the good and the outcome and the benefits and all of that. So that's kind of what I would do, that kind of the angles I would take. And again, be careful with compliance. Don't do something that you shouldn't. And those examples were just me being a little more outlandish to give you an example of what I'm talking about. Holistic success system. That's basically your unique mechanism. And it's not very specific, and it doesn't really sound like it relates to this industry. So there might be a little disconnect there. I know you like the holistic thing, and maybe you take the holistic out of the unique mechanism and you use it as a descriptor, like a holistic approach to winning, using the judge swayer system or something like that, because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take convincing and swaying on the part of the judge or the jury to win this case. And, again, I'm not totally dead set against holistic success system. It's just, I'm trying to think of any kind of objection somebody might have to it. Holistic sounds like like subdued and sedate and mild and under the radar. And winning is about competitiveness. It's almost the polar opposite. So the holistic thing is cool for the unique, or for the compelling angle, like taking a holistic approach to your case using the something method, that you could still have all of that in there. You could have the holistic part, but it's a holistic approach. It's not the actual thing. They might have trouble believing that you're going to use anything holistic to win a case. That's my big concern. So,
Yeah.
so hopefully that makes sense. All right. So Dwayne, did you have any questions, comments?
I think I left it in there.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's very helpful. I'm on a call. Sorry.
Huh?
I left it in there. I'm on a call. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, that really helps. I like the attorney / coach didn't fit with me today either. I just had to put something in there. But yeah, legal coach reveals how to win with a holistic success system. I like that. And what I'm doing is I'm not coaching attorneys. I'm coaching the people who are in the lawsuit, the clients.
Yeah. I remember we had talked about that last week.
Yeah, and I do want holistic people. Like I'm going for that 10% or 15% or whatever of the population that's into personal growth and a softer approach, but that's also very powerful. One thing I was saying was with the power of the holistic success system, something like that.
Yeah.
It gets pretty wordy, but I like reveals much better than teaches.
Yeah. Reveals is much better, because anytime you say teaches or learn, or how, even sometimes even how to, although how to is not near as on point as like teaching. They're like, oh God, I got to learn something. A lot of people don't like school. I'm one of them.
I know. Me too. I'm done with that.
They don't like that grind. It's like, even if you try and sell them something, even if you present something they really want, but then you put that hurdle of, oh shit, I got to learn something. No, let me think about it. That's what you'll get.
What do you think about me using the word consultant rather than coach? It sounds more professional to me.
Yeah, that's because again, it's like the words that you use should be relevant to the niche. And coach, they might think more, sports.
Mm-hmm.
I know coach is being used a lot in business now, but yeah, I think consultant, or what do they call the what do they call a person that preps you for trial? Isn't there a name for that? I think there's a name for that. And the only reason I think that is I've seen it in movies. I don't know if it was like Aaron Brockovich or something.
It's sometimes a paralegal, or there are specialists who do that. Actually, I have a friend who does that, and I think she's like a jury preparation, trial preparation consultant. I think that's what she uses.
Maybe that's what you call yourself.
Yeah, the thing is that most cases are won in the course of discovery and deposition and mediation. Only 2% of cases actually go to trial. So what I do is I guide people and advise people through the whole process.
Oh, well, what you said right there,
especially those early.
What you said right there, you said the promise right there. How to win your case without going to court.
Aye.
Wow.
You just said it.
Yep, you did, boss.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Yes, that was awesome.
I'm glad somebody was was listening.
See, what I said at the beginning of this call was you should be listening more than you're talking.
Lawyer.
And I'm listening to every word you say, looking for the solution. And you just said it.
Yeah.
And I was listening.
So
That's a perfect example.
yeah.
Hey,
right.
John, I also have a question.
Okay.
Good morning, fellow entrepreneurs, wonderful people. I was wondering why it isn't in the first person. I almost think it's more powerful of like how I win your cases. I'm going to teach you how to do with my holistic system. Is that too egocentric? I think it's
No, not.
perfectly valid. The guy knows what the hell he's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely cases where that will work in your favor, but you got to keep in mind, like, this is something that I use a lot when I'm writing copy or even sending an email. Like when I'm writing any kind of text, I am always trying to figure out how to take myself out of it and put it to them. So that's the only place. But I get what you're saying, Woody, the idea of, if you need to transfer authority to yourself, then that's where that comes into play. But ultimately, you're always thinking about who you're talking to and what's important to them. And we're never the thing that's important to them.
Exactly.
So it could work either way. There's certainly instances where it would absolutely be in your favor to do that, but not all the time.
I mean, if it was Gloria Allred and, she was defending me for having orange hair, I wouldn't talk, the offices. I would say, Gloria, save my life. And I think you're pretty much, Counselor Dwayne, in the same light. I mean, when I was in for my pot bust, I loved my lawyer. I sent him Christmas gifts for keeping me out of the joint. You guys are really in a very powerful position. And when you say how I win cases for you, I don't know. It sounds pretty sexy to me.
Well, here's the other thing about that too, Woody. It's far more powerful. Like when you say something about yourself, what that is, it's a claim.
Right.
And a claim is like water off a duck. Nobody believes a claim. Everyone's skeptical just by nature. So when you make a claim, you have to attach proof and benefits to it to really make it stick. And a lot of people will tell you this, and I've experienced this myself. I hate talking about myself because I know that. I do not want to turn people off. So I never talk about how good I am at anything. When I talk to them and I consult them, they figure out how good I am real fast without me saying a word about it. The other thing, when you get other people to say how good you are, that means something at a different level.
Third-party validation.
Yes, I will always let other people talk about me versus me talking about myself. Always.
So you could say Coach Dwayne wins cases.
Yeah, that was where that was where I came in with coach to the most successful attorneys in the business. That says something about him without him saying it about himself.
Yo.
It's always better to position the authority coming from a third party validation. There are definitely times when you when you have to do it, but I would reduce those down to a very minimal. You definitely want to be positioned. You definitely want to be seen as the authority. But when you say it yourself, it doesn't come across the same way as like if Jim came on here and said, my God, he's this and he's that. He did this and he did that. And he's awesome. And I just sit here and look pretty. As hard as that is for me to do, that's what I try and do.
Hold up a fish or something.
Yeah, I don't jump in and I don't try and back it up. I just, I just take the compliment and it goes over very well that way. But if it were the other way and I were to come on and I were to say the same thing that Jim might say about me, it's not taken the same way. It's looked at like, who does this guy think he is? It just puts the defenses up for who you're talking to.
A
So
lesson to all copywriters.
yeah, so
Right there.
but again, everything has its place. You just have to make sure it all stays in its place. So, all right. So, Jim, yeah, unmute.
All right. Good morning, everybody. My question is, I'm getting more SEO clients. Excited about that, and thanks for your support on the technical pieces. My question for you is: do you use your own Google account and add their URLs to that, like manage them all in one place, or do you use their Google account?
Well, you want them to set up their own Google account. So each client should have their own Google account. And then what I do is I create like a catch-all email, and I have them add that email for access so we can access it through our account. So that's how I do it.
Okay.
And that way, it's, if they want to revoke access, they're free to do that. You're not like hold them by a noose or anything. It's full transparency. They're in control of their own stuff. I don't ever want anyone to think that, I'm going to hold them hostage in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that's exactly how I love to operate. And it's nice to have a centralized location to manage all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So that's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's the way to do it.
Okay. Beauty.
Why are you giving them a Google account, John?
What was that, Richard?
Why are you giving them a Google account, or why do you have them get a Google account?
Well, for them to get like Webmaster tools, for them to get Google Analytics, you don't want to create something that, you have to manage on their part. You're going to manage it for them, but you don't want ownership of that. You don't want to own their accounts. So the only way, like the only SEO guys that I know, which is almost all of them, they will do that. And what they want to do is if somebody decides to leave or they can't pay him or whatever, then they're gonna put the screws to them. I don't do that. I've never operated that way. Hey, if somebody wants to leave, that's fine. That's their right. I'm not going to hold their assets. I'm going to do whatever I can to help them transition, knowing they're probably going to come back very soon. And they almost always do. So that's just me. I've been very, very different from most of the people that operate in this space. Very different. So that's the way I do it. It's full transparency of everything. It's their account. There's no reason that I'm going to own an account on, for their properties. So.
And John, speaking of what Jim was saying about giving access or managing it, one of the biggest heartaches I ever had was with my website and being afraid to move on because I didn't have control of the website.
Yeah.
And with you, the way you operate, I mean, you are hosting it and doing all this stuff, but yet I have access to it and I can go in and I'm on it. It's like I own it, even though you're managing it.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. So that's a big thing, Jim, because I sat in that seat and felt the pressure of not having control over my assets.
Yeah. I've helped so many people recover their assets. They'll have some other web developer develop a site for them, and we find out they don't really even own it. They don't even own the domain. And I'm like, oh my God, don't, and we have to go through hell to recover their assets and get control of them. So it's, I've helped a lot of people over probably since 25 years back. People have been doing this for 25 years that I'm aware of. And I'm just like, that's not right. That's not the way I do business.
That happened to me, John. I had an entire art gallery website set up and paid for a lifetime of service. And I got it all right. It was such a disaster. After a year, the site went down. A friend of mine said, "Hey, Allie, I'm trying to buy a painting." Now, John, this is like 15 years ago, right? In New York. And I said, no, that's not possible. The site's up. And I said, I'll just check with my webmaster. Off they were with 25,000. So yeah, that was a big learning lesson. That's why I love and appreciate you.
Yeah,
That's for real.
There's a chain of those stories as long as the day is long. That's crazy.
And it goes back to, like, John, you treat people the right way, no matter what. It comes back, like you said, a lot of people leave and realize, oh shoot, I had it made with John. Let me get the heck back there. You treat people the right way, and 99% of the time it works out on your behalf.
Yeah.
In the long run, it just does. And people just don't get it. They don't get it.
Yeah, I remember this was probably about 10 years ago. I had hired an in-house salesperson to come in and help me, follow up on leads, because I'm horrible at that. I get leads all the time and they just go into a pile. And, the only business I really do is the laydowns. If somebody wants me to do work for them, they'll come and it's just got to be easy for me. As lazy as I am, you guys know that. I'm not going to chase anything. So I had this pile of leads and I hired this internal salesperson to come in and, okay, let's grow the business, right? So she started coming in and she's like making lists of stuff for me to do, which is not a good idea to begin with. And she's like, okay, the first thing we want to do is we want to go through your past clients and see who we can reactivate. And I'm like, okay, that sounds like a logical thing to do. That's going to be the easiest path. So I pull up the database of my past clients that are no longer with me. And this was kind of a shocker. I'm going down the list and I'm like, oh no, he passed away. No, he died. No, he had an accident. He's no longer with us. It was like 9 out of 10 of the people that were no longer with me were no longer with us. And I'm like, Jesus, it sounds like I'm the Godfather or something. They die if they leave.
They do, John. They do.
But
It's a good hook.
yeah, it's like that. Unfortunately, that's like one of my favorite stories.
Was it, John, the only way that your customers leave you is if they die? In other words, they're there for life. That's a good way to put it.
Pretty much. But it was like, I was really shocked because I had no concept of that until we actually did the exercise. And I'm like, holy shit, this is like a list of dead people. Like,
I'm out of here.
It's like, am I a mortician or what? God, it was really an eye opener. But it is what it is, right? And it's kind of shocking too. I had one of my clients was a dentist, and I was working with him pretty closely. He was really successful, and he was taking a dive vacation in the Bahamas, and he was all excited. We were talking about it, and he left on a Friday, and he was supposed to be back, the following Monday, or not the following Monday, the week after that, like a 10-day vacation or something.
Loaded in early.
And well, I was expecting, we had an appointment. He missed the appointment. I thought, oh, well, he's just back from vacation. And, another week went by, and I really didn't give it much thought. Because again, like I said, I don't chase people. They come to me when they're ready for stuff. So I never pressure anybody. But then like a month went by, and I just sent him an email saying, hey, how was the vacation? And I didn't get any response. So I called his office, and they put me through to his wife, and she had told me that he passed away. He was diving and passed away underwater somehow. And I was like, wow, that's a really bizarre, eerie feeling to like, I was just talking to this guy. Now he's gone. It's kind of freaky. freaky stuff. I guess the
Yeah, it
moral of the,
happens to us all nowadays, the older we're getting.
I know, I guess the moral of the story is if you want to do something, you better do it while you can. You never know. Get while the getting's good.
Before you become shark bait.
Exactly. And that's why I'm kind of having the time of my life right now with that big old boat. So I'm making use of the time.
Amen, brother.
We never know how much we got.
No, we don't.
All right. So who's up next? What do we got? I didn't have a big opportunity to create a lot of content for you guys this week, and we've been doing pretty well with our content from you guys. So Kaya, you got your hand up there.
No, actually, Tim and Alice are in front of me.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll go
Yeah.
left to right on the screen. Tim, you got the floor.
Okay. So yeah, my question this week is probably pretty simple for you to solve. I learned this this week because I had a customer I had to do a refund to, and but I sent this very helpful thing to her in an email, and I wanted to come up with a way that when people opt out of my emails on Kartra, is there a way to put on a page some parting advice, like you said, you want to do the best to help your customers. So
Sure.
they decide they no longer want to be with you, and then they opt out. Can you put it should I still send a sequence or an email to them? Or is there a way to create a page that basically says, hey, John, you know what I mean? I understand we didn't reach your expectations, but, we want to be here to give you advice in the future, and we want to wish you the best.
Sure. Absolutely. So there's a couple or three different ways to do that. Mm-hmm. There's two different things, though. When they opt out of your email, that's one thing. Mm-hmm. When they cancel out of a service, that's another thing. They're independent of one another. Yeah. Like I've had some people that accidentally opted out of email. So they weren't even receiving the weekly call reminders. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of a pain because you have to go back through Kartra, and you have to have the person send Kartra a support ticket to reenact that, which I've told them that's not the best of ideas. I believe if you have an opt-in, if you created your own opt-in form and you opt them back in, I think you can opt them back in yourself.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to communicate with them, but I thought that because I have a couple, red dots that they're saying hard bounce, stuff like that. Yeah. And I'm kind of letting those go and seeing when they contact me. But
yeah, now hard bounce, what happens sometimes, hard bounce isn't a real definitive thing, especially when it comes to Kartra. Like their email could be down temporarily. There's all kinds of glitches. You guys probably don't know this, you don't see it, but there's all kinds of glitches throughout the day with DNS. Whether you think so or not, there is. Okay. So if an email happens to go and there happens to be a glitch in their DNS for their email, then it's going to show up as a hard bounce, and Kartra is going to take that and boom, they're off the list. Doesn't mean their email's no good. It doesn't mean their email's bouncing. It's just kind of an idiosyncrasy in Kartra for that particular thing. You can go back and you can have them whitelisted.
Okay.
I do that.
When that happens, I'll reach out to you when it happens specifically so we can fix it at that moment in time. I'll probably send you a text or something.
Yeah.
When that does happen again.
Yeah. I do it like quarterly. Quarterly, I'll put in a support ticket and just ask Kartra to go through and fix all my bounces. Okay. And what they do, they run a report. They send me a report that's like an Excel spreadsheet of each email address that had an issue, if it's been cleared, if it hasn't been cleared, why, and then I can go through and deal with them individually.
Okay.
But they clean up most of them pretty good. Now, let's say they did opt out and you just can't get mail to them in Kartra. Mm-hmm. You still have their email address. You can pull up your web browser or your email browser and you can send them directly an email. Okay. Outside of Kartra. Okay. So you could have like a standard form letter. If they canceled out of a product and they canceled out of your mailing ability to send them mail, you could certainly send them a parting letter on your own outside the Kartra universe would have no effect on your Kartra status whatsoever.
I was just wondering when they opt out, all right, they go to it goes to a page, but that's controlled in the Kartra system. I can't control that page they go to. And that's where I was wondering if you
Correct.
knew that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's just the way it is. It opts them out. And
yeah, I don't want to hound them, but like I liked like this person this week. I mean, I just sent the friendly email and I said, yes, I'm going to send you a refund. And I understand that where you're at right now, that my program is not for you. Here's some advice I want to give you because this is what you're really going to need. And here's so you don't get screwed when you do it. And I mean, it was a little, it was less than 100 words, but still, I mean, they wrote back, they went, wow, thank you. Like that's that, you know what I mean? They were overwhelmed at that advice. And like, I didn't do it to try to keep them as a customer because really I'm not the ideal fix for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But their ideal fix, they can get screwed on real bad. All right. You guys know in the space you're in online, there's hackers out there that would take advantage of this poor lady in a heartbeat.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, not only did you create that goodwill, even if she's still not your ideal customer or your customer at all, guess what? In the back of her mind, she's going to know what you do and she might come across somebody and refer you.
Yeah. Which is what I wanted to do for everybody that opts out. And I was wondering, is there a way to do that? To be, just, hey, I'm not mad. Bye. All right. I want to wish you the best, but that's it.
Yeah. I mean, you probably don't have too many of those situations. So just
I actually don't. This is the first refund I've given in like 6 years.
Yeah. So just create a form letter in a Word document, store it on your desktop or whatever, and just pull up an email browser and send them an email.
All right, man. That's good advice, man. I appreciate it, man.
That's a piece of cake. The other thing, like I have people that come in and out of software services. Like we sell SitePop, we sell a couple other, pieces of software on a recurring basis. And we will always get dropouts, sometimes because their credit card expired and they don't update it. They still want the software, they still want the service. But after Kartra tries to charge the account 2 or 3 times, it just cancels the account. It just drops it, cancels it out. So now we have a customer that is no longer paying. So they're no longer active. They're not an active customer. So what you want to do in that case, when somebody goes from active to non-active, you want to put them into a sequence. Because chances are they didn't want to opt out. Their credit card just did it to them.
Yeah.
So you want to send them another link to go ahead and reactivate their account. You want to send them, detailed instructions, because a lot of times they just don't know what to do. They see the failure message and they're embarrassed or whatever. And you can either just let that happen and let that bad feeling be between you, or you can reach out and say, hey, put it on you. Go, my system canceled you out. I'm really sorry. I apologize. It should never do that, but it did. I apologize. Here's a link. Let's get things back on track.
Okay. So the other thing I was noticing this week is in my affiliates on Kartra is like, it shows that from Kartra program, I have, I don't know, like a couple $100 in outstanding money they owe me, but it's just sitting there and with a red, and it's in red. And I'm like, why is it sitting there in red for months?
Is this they owe you or you owe them?
They owe me. Yeah, no, they owe me. It's like over $200 at this point. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a couple of things. If you haven't filled out your W-9, it'll do that. They can't pay you unless you're complete. If your profile.
Oh, no, I have that complete because I did that when I signed up for yours.
Okay.
And now it's in the system. So yeah.
In that case, they might just not be paying. There's a lot of affiliates out there that don't pay. And I don't get that. This is Kartra itself that I have the outstanding. That's why I was puzzled. Did I not cross a T or dot an I with Kartra? Oh, gotcha. Have they ever paid you?
No.
Because they pay me like clockwork.
Yeah. And that's why I was wondering, and maybe sometime, we'll go through it and stuff. So, and I noticed like, I thought I had one more left with you, and it looks like they opted out of your system because like, you know what I mean? I'm not getting any more from you either. So.
Huh. I wonder if they've, I wonder if
I thought
they've
I had
got,
one left, but they could have, again, they could have opted out of your system and checked themselves out of the program. So
yeah, I wonder if they've opted your email out.
Mm.
Let me check here. Let's see. No, you're green. You're green. You're emailable in the Kartra universe.
Mhm.
Let me see. Let me take a look at at the affiliate. I'll look at your affiliate account in my system and see if you're active there. Yeah, you're payable.
Yeah. I was wondering because I mean, well, yours it could be because I only had one left. I know the previous people had dropped out, but I only had one left, and I could have just
Okay.
finally passed out. And I need to get you over to do another master class.
Oh, here in the status, it gives me a like a color coding of the colors of the dots.
Yeah,
Red is declined.
red is declined.
Red is declined. Each different person you have an affiliate account with has the ability to make you pending, declined.
Yeah, I know that because I've declined quite a few people in mine, but the money they owe me, like when you look at the payment side of it, all right, there's an amount there that says due or amount due. And you know what I mean? Like yours is 0 because the only two that shows that I've had money paid was you and Kartra. And
I would put in a support ticket and just ask them why you're in a decline status.
so like when I go to the earnings tab,
Yeah.
all right, the earnings tab shows the amount due, but it shows it in red, and it shows unpaid, but it shows like I've earned over 400, 119 in reserves and like 277 due. And that's just from Kartra. All
Yeah.
right. And it shows me like yours, like you're the other one listed that's paid me. And it shows, you know, how much I've earned with you, how much I've reserved, and 0 reserve, 0 due, but it shows me the total you paid me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't get why people don't pay affiliate commissions. I mean, I usually pay mine out on the first of the month. And it's like, that's one of my favorite things in business to do is pay people.
So that means you got to come do another masterclass for my community so we can get more of that happening.
Yeah, I want to pay you more. I love paying people because I know every time I pay somebody, that just tells me they gave me some money.
Yeah. So, all right, I will touch base with you later. We'll schedule in for another masterclass, but I will reach out to Kartra on that matter, and you can move on to help Allie now.
All right. Allie, are you ready for me?
Yeah, it's kind of a, well, Rich had this idea and to develop a whole like emoji palette for specific niches. And I said, honey, I have no idea how to do that. So I figured I'd ask you.
An emoji palette, like for on cell phones and stuff?
Yeah. He had this whole brainstorm and sent me like 12 inches of text this morning. And I was like, it's a great idea. I just don't have a clue on how to get it off the ground, to get it from idea to functioning.
Gotcha. You know, honestly, with that, you probably need to find somebody younger than me.
Right. That's what I'm asking. Does anybody have any ideas? Josh is probably the youngest person around. But
Yeah.
Laurel has younger daughters, so I don't know, maybe.
Well,
So yeah.
can you communicate with people on WeChat and not WeChat, the one that has all the flash videos?
Yeah, there's like Fiverr.
No, TikTok.
You could check Fiverr.
Yeah,
There's a lot of outsourcing places too that might have those kind of resources for you.
Yeah, I didn't have a clue on even how or where to even begin the research. So that was the short of it. I know how to design the stuff. I just don't know how to get it produced. So
yeah,
anyway.
that's going to be a programming thing. But yeah, you just have to go onto an outsourcing board and find somebody. You can post jobs. You can post a detailed description of what you're trying to do, and then people will bid for the jobs. So that's a good way to do it.
Okay, let me. And where would I do this? Like on Fiverr?
You could do it on Fiverr. There's oh, I forget the name of them. There's like 2 or 3 big ones. Does anybody know what they are? The software outsource worker.
Guru.com is one of them.
What is it?
Guru?
Guru. Yeah, guru.com. That was
TaskRabbit has some people.
Odesk also.
What is it? Odesk? What?
Yeah, Odesk.
Is that?
Yeah, that's a good one. Odesk.
Okay. All right.
yeah. So those are write up a detailed description of what you're trying to do, and just go post it on a few of those, and I'm sure you'll get a bunch of people come back that know exactly how to do that. You can get competitive quotes, and then you can go to town.
Yeah, I just didn't know if your team knew how to develop that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I could check with them. They might, but like I said, if you get a detailed description of what you want, I can submit it to my guys and say, hey, anybody in here? I got young guys on the team, so I wouldn't doubt that they know how to do it.
Yeah, I'd rather keep it in the family, the limbo integrity group.
I would just need to know what I'm asking them of, what you want done.
Right. It's basically designing a whole palette of a specific niche emoji palette or to sell and to get on like cell phone sites or the big, how you can opt into different emoji whole designs. And so Rich had an idea this morning, and it was a bee in his bonnet. So I said, all right, I'll ask John Limbacher. He's the only person I know who could possibly know how to get this done.
Yeah, well, write it up. I'll run it past my guys, and then you can post it on some of those boards, and we'll see what we can come up with for you.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you, John.
Twitch does that. They sell emoji palettes when you're doing the chats and stuff like that. When you subscribe, you can get like an emoji palette per subscription. Let's say you subscribe to person X's whatever website, and he has his own section of emojis. And then if you subscribe to person Z, they have their own section of emojis, and you can use it.
And
in
what
the
is
whole rest
this?
of the
Twitch?
website.
Twitch?
Yeah, Twitch. Twitch is the company that streams, and so I'm wondering if we can ask them how they do it exactly. So maybe we can find somebody there.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah.
Kaya's up.
All right, Kaya, you still with us there? You just got to unmute.
Still here. Yay.
You're hiding.
I am. So I'm wondering if you can look at my front page again, just real quick. And so what I'd like to do for now, until I get clear on my avatar, is just keep going with Chi Home Designs, which is really geared towards designing homes for women that are like my age in the Bay Area.
Okay, what was the domain again?
Chi, CHI, Home, HOME, Designs, DESIGNS.com. And someone just grabbed Chi Home on their SEOs, and I don't even get come up. I just got bounced.
Okay, so let me share the screen here. Get back to
I was changing it while you were talking. It's so inspiring.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, so that comes up to, oh, interesting. That's the about page. You can go to-
Home Designs.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. When I take the home off, this is where it goes.
How strange.
So is this WordPress?
No, it's Wix.
Oh,
I do it all, but I mean, this SEO has been, the SEO is like my company wasn't even coming up.
So you might have put your home as your about page. That's what happened to me when I did my website on
Oh.
Wix.
I'll check that. Thank you.
okay. So these things here, like if somebody's trying to read your stuff
I know, I don't like those.
and you're constantly in their face,
Yeah.
that's not really a good user experience. What you want is if they like go to leave, like they go up to the X or they, they go up to the return. That's when you want to pop that, not when they're consuming your content.
I agree. I see that on so many sites and I hate it. So I kept telling her to make it longer and longer.
Yeah. Like I have, I noticed like this was probably 10 years ago when Google started looking at bounce rate. What a bounce is like when somebody visits your site and then they hit the back button and they go back and they look for another site. Google was counting that as a very bad thing. So what I did was I wrote a script that you could drop into your website that rewrites the history of this button. So if somebody hit the back button, they would go to another page in my site that was basically, it was a, oh, sorry to see you go type of page. Let me try and, redeem this. And I had people telling me, oh, that's going to piss people off, and I'm like, no, you already did that. They're hitting the back button. You've already done an effective job at that. This is trying to save it. And it's a different thing. And what it did, it prevented Google from seeing the bounces. So it eliminated the bounce rate problem. And, but it was only when somebody went to the back button. So the other thing that can happen too, if you've got other things going on, like if you have automated things going on for,
Oh, interesting. There's two.
yeah, for your SEO, what can wind up happening is it can stop those processes. Like I know one of the things on our site pop software, we're running searches, and our search apps are clicking through, but when those buttons pop up or those things pop up, it doesn't know how to deal with those. So it stops the whole process. So it kills the effectiveness of that. And that's pretty reminiscent of a searcher. Like if somebody say there was an older woman that was looking at your content and that thing popped up and they'd freak out. They'd think their computer was taken over.
Yeah.
They think they have a virus.
I agree. Thank you.
They'll close out or whatever.
So but where's the other place? Because people have it. Should I do it on the bottom side or?
You mean the pop-up?
Yeah.
Well, the pop-up's fine when they go to leave.
Only when they go to leave. Okay.
Only like right then, the whole thing just changed on me. I didn't do anything. It just, I was up here and it all of a sudden just snapped to the bottom. That will tend to freak people out, especially non-computer savvy people.
That's bullshit.
They'll think, oh, wow, my computer's messed up or I've got a virus. And that's just not something you want to correlate with your name. That's not the type of branding recognition that you want.
So on the first page, right below the picture, so it's not a bed anymore. How does that phrasing even sound? Design consultants that know how to make your house into a home.
I would still put that up here.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've already got this right there.
Okay.
It's already right in their face. So this space right here, like when you look at real estate, the above the fold piece of your website is the most expensive real estate on your site. So you want to put your most featured, most valuable information there. So replicating what's already there is not a good use of that space. That would be like, you know, on Park Avenue, having 2 for sale signs right next to each other, when you could have a for sale sign and then a sign that had the benefits of why they want to buy this property. So that's, you know, you have to have effective use of your real estate. And even the picture, it could say furniture. Even though it's home designs, it could say this picture could say furniture to them.
So I wonder
Yeah,
what would
like,
be,
Kia, do you have pictures of your actual interior designs? Because this looks like stock photo to me. It looks very dry. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like you need to put up your original work.
I have some from friends' places, but unfortunately I didn't do it before. Some clients that were also friends. And so, and they're great.
You know, honestly, you could ask them for a before picture. They have pictures of their house, you know, and just get, even if it's just an after picture, because when, you know, Laurel does interior design, I mean, when you do your own work, it's really obvious. And to me, it's obvious that this is stock work.
Got it.
And that's not good for you because you're the interior designer. Why would you use stock photography?
Yeah.
The
you know,
other thing about this too is you got to figure out what it is that you're trying to say here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still very ambiguous of the outcome. You know, like the finally feel rested, prosperous, and have loving relationships. Somebody's going to have a lot of trouble connecting that to.
Yeah. So basically what I do is that I create the space so that their nervous system can rest, so that they love it. They get rid of the stuff they don't want. They have everything they have, they love. And then I work with the whole orchestration of the design, but it's actually the invisible realms more. It's the chi, it's the flow, it's the color, it's the 5 elements.
So what you've got going on here is we talked about this with Dwayne too. You know, the whole give them what they want or sell them what they want, but then give them what they need.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times they don't even want to hear about what they need. They're just concerned with what they want. So
that's the part I'm not sure.
Maybe if they're looking for rest and they're looking for, you know, to clear their mind so they can sleep well at night and all that, you might want to focus on that and then say, here's how we're going to do it. You know, once you get them opted into the thing that they want, then you can educate them and say, you know, the problem is probably your house.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is your environment.
That's why I picked sleep disorders and sleep challenges as a focal point.
So what might be a good image here is a woman's head laid on a pillow with just a peaceful look on her face, like she's finally got to sleep. You know, and then you talk about, you know, the sleep alchemy. You know, the sleep alchemy is what you need to get your life back on track. Let me show you how it works. By the way, I'm a design consultant. This is how I know how to do this. And it's your environment. I have pieced this together. I have come to the conclusion that people that have sleep disorders, it mostly relates to their environment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you can introduce yourself as a design consultant. I know how to fix the environment so you can get what you want.
Sweet.
Hey, John.
So it's that kind of positioning of how you introduce yourself when the things come in sequence. But you've got to focus on what they want right up front. Like they're not coming in. If somebody is in a state of chaos in their mind, they're not thinking beautify their home.
Yeah.
They're not looking to spend money to beautify their home. They're not looking for a design consultant. If that's really your person, they're looking to get their life in order, and you're going to have to educate them on how that's going to happen. That's where you're introducing them to the problem.
So if someone's new coming into this, you go, well, what do people need? How do people suss that out? Like I was told before, you do these interviews and you talk to people, but that didn't really work.
So actually, one thing I was thinking real quick, John,
Sure.
I'm not a design person. I don't like it. My room's absolute chaos, but I work best in that. If I was looking at this, I would want to take like a 10 question thing because maybe I don't realize because of answer 8. I'm like, oh, shoot, I do need to hire her because she can help me with that. And then I told you my problem and you're solving it at the same time.
Yeah. So
Yeah, John, Kaya, I personally, you just talked about that you're a chi expert and the 5 elements, and that was my thought. Like John's saying, you need to solve a problem and you need to solve a pain point. And my thought is, if you had the 5 elements with a symbol and then a question that is a pain point, like whatever the element when it's out of balance, and they click on that and they take a quick 3 to 5 minute 5 question survey, and then they go, oh man, I need a free consultation with Kaya. Like, you make it a no-brainer. Like, what? Because nobody knows what chi is, nobody knows what 5 elements, they don't know. There's
And
no
EMFs is the other one, and that's an invisible unknown thing.
right,
Electromagnetic
and you
field.
can't lead with the invisible. That people are going to be like, oh, like John said, if my house is chaos, my life is chaos, I'm not going to draw the straight line to, oh yes, I need an interior designer, like,
Yeah.
so you have to go after the pain, and since you have the 5 elements, make it relate that if you're out of order here, if this is happening, if your sleep is here, whatever element it lines up with, and then they click on that symbol and they go to a little survey, and then if you have Kartra, it follows a like path that John can help you create. What do you call it, John? The path when Kartra takes you through the whole thing. So that
The funnel.
the funnel, of course. So anyway, that's that, and get your own work up there. That is like crucial.
yeah, so I'll give you an example too of a lot of times the way you find people to sell them what you have is in very different ways. You have to really figure out who they are, what they're doing, where they're hanging out. We had a day spa down in San Diego that we were doing some work for, and nobody was searching. They wanted to do SEO, and I did the research. I'm like, nobody in this area is searching for day spa in Point Loma. There's no, I could get you up number 1, but nobody's going to click on it because nobody's looking for it. And I started asking them, like, who's your customer? What are they into? Aside from the day spa, aside from being massaged and feeling good and getting facials and all that, what else are they into? Because they're not looking for that. That's a truth I can tell you with no uncertainty because I did the research. So I said, what else do they like? I'm not saying they're not here. I'm just saying they're not aware and they're not looking for it. So tell me about these people. And what they said was, they said, most of our clients own boats. It's in Point Loma. It's like right across the street from the harbor. So most of our clients own boats. And I said, okay, what else do they like? What do they do? And she said, well, because she talks to them, like they're laying on her table for an hour and they talk. So what do they talk about? And she said, well, a lot of times they're talking about, shopping and buying cool stuff for their boat, pillows and stuff like that. They're basically interior decorating their boats, and they're drinking wine and eating cheese. And I'm like, she said that the majority of them, that's where the conversations go.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, now we know where they're hanging out. We know they like to be massaged. We know they like to feel good. So we created ads, and we actually started running ads and placing them in front of the people where they were. In the wine and cheese shops, we started running banner ads in the wine and cheese stores in the local area, and they got business off of it.
Wow.
But it's all about figuring out who you're talking to and what's important to them, where they hang out, whether they do. It's like that will open up a whole universe to you and how you can tap into it.
And that'll come up through finishing the ACT program, from figuring out your avatar.
Yeah. And it's the ACT program is just a framework. It's like sometimes sometimes you'll know this intuitively, because a lot of times, in a lot of the people that I've worked with over the years, what they're doing, they did it for themselves first. They were their own first customer. Like they solved a problem for themselves. They found out other people have the same problem and they started offering it as a solution. So in that case, I take them in a timeline thing and I say, let's go back. Let's go back to when you didn't have a solution for this. How did you feel? And I take them back and we recreate their own timeline. And we can pull the data right out of their own head if that's the case. In the case of the day spa, we did it just based on their past experience of people that had laid on their table over the last 10 years.
Mm.
It was just a matter of me asking them the right questions. So this is like a thinking person's game of how you answer these questions. If you ask the right questions, you'll get the right answers. And
John,
it's really important to get to the bottom of, who you're dealing with and what's important to them, and all of that.
I feel the import of it. And it's like, I did a year-long business program and I still didn't get that. And it's just like, that's the part that's so hard. But I know what you say. I feel it through my whole body.
Yeah,
that when we nail that, we nail the whole piece almost.
Yeah, it's incredibly simple.
Yeah.
Yet it's also incredibly difficult to implement. I'm not saying this is easy. If this were easy, everyone would do it.
Huh.
It's not easy. It's incredibly simple. And I've identified every piece of it. I've identified every angle of why it works and what it is and all of that. So it's simple in its form, but it's not easy.
So that's the piece where I go, it's like, I can't afford to sign up for the monthly program and drag it on, even though I'd love to. And so I go, well, why can't I just sit down with you and masticate this and just like go through it and figure it out so that then I can continue building on it? Because if I don't have that piece, I feel like, it's like I'm going to lose all my steam and go to the monastery.
Well, it's like, I'm fairly good at this game.
Yeah.
And it's not because I was good at it to begin with. I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
This was not an easy thing for me to figure out and get good at. But with time, I was able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Linda, I don't know if she's still on the call. I think she dropped out. But Linda just recently signed up for the apprentice program. In our first call, I was just asking her the right questions, and she just opened up. And I mean, what we came up with was something so far away from anything she would have ever come up with on her own. And we got to it like almost immediately.
Beautiful.
It was totally different than what she was thinking, but it made more sense than anything she'd ever thought of.
Yeah.
And now we go to work and now we're going to create it. We're going to implement it. We know what we're doing, all of that. But it's definitely not easy.
Mm-hmm.
But anything that's worth anything is worth putting some effort into.
Mm-hmm. It's that I'm fine. I mean, I can be a workhorse and put a lot of effort into it. It's just, I don't have the means right now. I lost $100,000 in the.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And so it's like, that's the part that's challenging for me, because I'm like going, oh my God, I'm so ready to just, bite into this and offer it in a skillful way.
Yeah. But the first thing that you've got to do is figure out what you're going to sell, who you're going to sell it to, and why they want it.
Yeah.
If it's interior design and people need that, they want that, they know why they want it, and you can figure those things out, then you throw the whole sleep thing out the window and that just becomes a benefit of what you do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to lead with the sleep thing, and that's where the problem lies, that's where people want, then you focus on that, you throw the interior design out the window, and that's a delivery mechanism of how we're going to make this happen for you.
Yeah, my sense is that that's a more of a low hanging fruit than the design.
So that's the biggest thing to implementing a successful campaign is in that one decision of what's my most profitable segment. And that's the very first piece of the ACT program. That's where I send everybody first. I'm like, let's work on one funnel. Let's work on one campaign. And if we're going to do that, the most beneficial thing that we could all do for ourselves is figure out which one of those is going to be the most profitable. And let's start there. So it's like figuring out what are the segments to what you do and which one of those segments is the most profitable. You know, is it people that need interior design? Is it people that need sleep? Is it people that are looking to, maximize their life experience through chi, or whatever it is?
John, I just had an idea for Kaya. If you went with sleep and you throw the interior design angle out, you can, it's possible in my mind anyway, to create then a whole list of partnerships so that, you can recommend beds and go back and create, like everything you need to have a bedroom that supports, dynamic sleep, deep, profound healing sleep. And then you create all the, the JVs with essential oils, the sheets, the pillows, the everything. And you get a little piece off of it, and that you give them the links and they click, and you create where they get a 5% discount just for using you. And then with the vendor, you get a little off the sale. So
I've actually done that. I have the essential oils. I don't have the sheets, but I have,
but everything in the bedroom, candles, whatever. And then you also recommend the whole thing of no television, nothing else,
the
dark,
EMFs.
dark, like shades and blinds that block out the light, whatever music you got playing in the background. That's, the solfeggio frequencies, everything,
Yeah, you'll have to include Roger if you want everything in the bedroom.
Roger.
And you might want to send Laurel, ask Laurel. She's a very successful interior designer, and she lives in Canada, so it's not like
I'm Canadian.
Competition. You could maybe help each other. I don't know.
Yay, Laurel. I'm
Randy, you were going to say something.
Who was going to say something?
Randy, never mind. I think he's.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm here. I'm just listening and taking notes and trying to learn to listen better after coming off the last night's event. I heard some things, and I just want to share what I heard. John, first of all, you were talking about the top third of the website. And that was a big thing for us when you redesigned my website. And I'm looking at her website, and honestly, what came to mind as you guys were chumming this all up was headline, chaos to comfort. Boom, right there in that spot where you told her you already have this. So put something here that grabs your attention and people understand you're going to help them go from chaos to comfort. And what does that mean? I don't know anything past that, but that's what came to my mind, because right now in this world we're living in, there is a lot of freaking chaos. And so how do we help people move from chaos to comfort, or chaos to success, or whatever? And then the second piece of that is, John, you also mentioned many times over that, yes, we understand it. We don't all have $1 million to invest in making 5 million right now, but WordPress site is the way to go. And we've talked about this many times. And then, for example, you gave me the ability with a simple Beaver builder to be able to go in, which instead of being held hostage by your website developer, you can go in and do things on your own website. And that's where I think it's going to be really important is getting a website that she can actually go in, put her own work in, put her testimonial videos in, just customize, and then someone else can help her, like a John Limbacher.
I can do all this. I just actually changed the header right now. If he refreshes his page, I changed it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'm great with that.
So cool. So the thought is, you know, John talked about show how, and then talk about the process, and then what I took away from that, and then step into the transformation that they can expect or will get. So if you go from chaos to comfort, to me that encapsulates, and now you show them how, and you talk about or educate them, and then you actually show them the process and what's involved with all this wonderful stuff, and then what is the actual transformation that they can expect, and is that transformation what they want? And so that's kind of where I was coming from and what I wanted to share, and I'm done now. Thank you.
So in your text here, where you say design consultants, by saying S, you're basically referring to every design consultant out there.
Okay.
You've taken it off of you and you've just put it as a generic thing. Like you're saying, basically, you could go to any design consultant.
Well, I did that because I have 2 EMF consultants that I refer to.
Yeah.
I pawned that off.
So the messaging is really important, though. You don't want them to think that they can just go anywhere to get what you do. So, you know, if you decide that sleep is the thing that you want to sell, that's the big problem. And then we're going to deliver that with, you know, with interior design. What you could do is you could put, you know, a design consultant turned sleep alchemist has discovered the secret to sleep. And they're going to go like, whoa, you know, how did a design consultant do that? How did they become a sleep alchemist? And what the hell does that even mean?
Beautiful, beautiful.
You know, something of that nature.
Beautiful.
And that's like the headline. That's the big idea that grabs their attention. It pulls them in. And then you tell them what to do next. You say, hey, download my free whatever that will show you what I've discovered about sleep. And then in there, you get the opportunity to make the connection between their environment causing their sleep disorder. And now you've got them on the path of saying, oh, I need that. I need my design. I need my space redesigned. And then you can talk about the importance of all the chi and all the other stuff that goes along with it. That's where you can create your own value, your own authority. And remember, I talk about creating demand and desire as the next step. That's how you do it. You're educating them on how they're going to get what they ultimately desire. That's how they want it. That's how you can take somebody from being completely clueless about home design and get them to want it desperately. You find out what their pain point is. If their pain point is sleep, you connect the dots for them because they can't do it themselves. They're not going to go out and do the research and come up with this discovery that their house is the problem. They're not going to do that. That's where you can come in and you can make a fortune by connecting the dots for people.
Beautiful. Thank you so much to everyone. I am really deeply grateful to all of you and your wisdom. It's brilliant. And I promise I won't ask any questions next week.
No, I want you to ask questions. This is all a learning thing. The more questions you guys ask, the more everyone on the call learns. Like everyone on here is learning from everyone that I go through this with.
Beautiful.
And if you guys haven't pieced this together, they're all the same. You will discover that what I'm doing is the same thing exactly over and over and over. That's where I say it's very simple in its form. It's just incredibly hard to implement. But the thing itself, the underlying foundation and the building blocks, they're identical. They're absolutely identical. They're identified. They're easy to understand. It's just the implementation. is what's going to kick our butts. And that's where I'm here to help you. So you got to help me though, by telling me the specifics of what do you want to do?
Yeah, I will do my homework on the act this weekend.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
You know, John, in my simple, easy marketing, I tell people all the time, it's not always simple and easy to do, but you got to make it simple and easy for your customers to buy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If I may pick a nit, if you're going to change font for emphasis like Alchemy, change it to a font you can read. That Alchemy is so hard to read. The home works because it's all caps, but Alchemy went to that weird font that's completely out of, I mean, even if you want to use some strange text, make it a sans serif text that's not script, because there's no script anywhere else. So it's such an outlier. It took me a couple of minutes to figure out what that word was, because the M and the Y ran together, and I was spending all my time trying to figure out what the word is because we're here on this call. If I were coming to the site, make your home good because we love you, is really good. It's like, wait a minute, what happened? Where did it go?
Yeah, I usually try and pick a single font, and then I'll use different sizes of it. I'll use bolding of it. I'll use italics of it. But I typically tend to stick with one font throughout an entire thing. And then website and funnel should match.
Yeah, I just wanted to have something a little more feminine. And so usually I separate the words. I haven't done that. Like Alchemy, I would space it so it's not so. But I hear you. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. Anything else? Anybody got anything else before we wrap up here? I think this is another great call. You know, the more you guys put out, the more I can help. So the only bad question's the one you don't ask.
A lot of good advice this week, John.
Well, cool. Yeah. That's what I want out of this. I want,
And you wouldn't be here to give us the advice if we weren't out there trying something and making mistakes and then coming in here to say, how do we fix this, John?
Exactly. you guys realize where I learned probably 90% or more of what I know about SEO was on this call over the last 15 years or whatever it's been, of everyone bringing their problems to me. I would have never seen all those problems on my own. As lazy as I am, I probably wouldn't have seen any of them. I would have just ignored them. I just take problems as they come. I don't create problems. I don't go out and look for them. If they drop on my doorstep, then I deal with them. But with this, everyone has brought all that to me, and I'm a problem solver. I can solve problems as fast as they come. That's where I learned most of what I know about SEO. So that's what made me as good as I am at that. And it's also what's making me as good as I am at this. It's collectively helping you all solve your problems. The more I do, the better I get, the faster I grow. So don't ever be afraid to bring your stuff on here. I'm happy to help.
Well, John, you helped wonderfully, and I really appreciate it. Yes, it was a wonderful call. Thank you much.
Oh, you're very welcome. All right, guys, we are going to wrap up. Next week, I'm probably not going to be here Thursday, so we might have to switch the call around. I just wanted to give you guys kind of a heads up.
Not Wednesday, not Wednesday.
I'm not sure. I've got a bunch of family coming in from all over, and they're wanting to do like family reunion stuff almost every day and stuff on the boat and who knows what. So the call might be at nighttime or whatever. I'm going to see when I can fit it in, but I just wanted to let you guys know I'll pull something off for you. I just don't know exactly when yet.
Cool.
It might be an oddball time. It might be good for some people. So let's hope so. And if not, it'll be recorded. So, all right, guys, have a great week. Thank you all for coming on, and we will see you sometime next week. I just don't know when.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, have a blast. Thanks so
Have a good
much.
one, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.